G'day everyone, it's Warren Davies here, the Unbreakable Farmer, and welcome to On the Wire, episode 5. And today joining me is Emmanuella Grace. G'day Emmanuella, how are you?
Hi Warren, so good to be here. Thank you.
Now Emmanuella's a vocal coach, a speaker and a supporter of women in business. So that's a pretty broad range of titles there, Emmanuella. So I suppose we'll just get into it to start off with. Just give us a bit of your background and where you've come from and what you're doing today.
Yeah, hi Warren. So today I just did a Facebook post on this. I will actually coach an incredibly wide range of people, from female CEOs through to professional singers and HR people. But what a lot of them have in common is that they feel that the way they perceive their voice and the way they want their voice to be don't necessarily align. And I come from a background as a professional singer, but I didn't get there easily. It was something where I was told that I couldn't sing, and that really confused me because from about the age of 7, I was really convinced that I was going to grow up to be a singer.
And then you got told that you weren't going to be.
Yeah, and I was just like, who am I? What do I do now? And so what I did was very doggedly pursue people that could teach me how to use my voice and teach me how to understand performance. And over time, I started to study as well psychology and physiology. And I went on to work as a professional singer for nearly 20 years. And kind of got to singing some really big concerts at some pretty major venues like Royal Albert Hall, the Barbican, Melba Hall. What's the name of the one here in Melbourne? At the Arts Centre, anyway.
Hamer Hall.
Hamer Hall, that's right. And so I'd gotten to a stage where I was singing at some pretty major venues and just realised that what I loved wasn't necessarily the performance, but the voice. And the more I understood the voice and the more I was able to teach people that actually it's not something mystical, it's not something inaccessible. We all have the facilities to learn how to use our voice. The more I firstly tapped into a very exciting part of myself that was, I had this great thing that I could share with people. I didn't understand quite how wide the perception was that our voices didn't belong to us. Yet it is the most fundamental thing that we use to engage with other people. Our body is an instrument. Our voice is an instrument, and it's what we use to engage with others. And so few of us actually feel ownership of that. And so nearly 10 years ago, someone asked me, would I spend some time with them mentoring and coaching them in kind of the approach that I was taking to my voice, which was, looking at how I use the body overall and looking at the physiology of the instrument and looking at the psychology behind how we played that instrument. And
so is that as a performer, like as a performance or stage presence, or?
Yeah, exactly. That's where it started. Was someone asking me to do that. And I was like, well, I'm not a singing teacher. I'm not really the person to help you with that. And she said, yeah, but I don't need a singing teacher. I can sing. And she's a phenomenal singer. She was an American Idol finalist. She'd sung at the Vatican. What she wanted to learn to do was tap into that deeper sense of who she was as a performer so that her self-perception aligned with the reality. And often that kind of disconnect between how you want to sound and how you think you sound creates what's called in psychology a cognitive dissonance. And that means that you have two ideas in your head that conflict.
Yeah.
And that can create a lot of anxiety and a lot of discomfort. And as a byproduct, people then impede their performance because they don't know how to reconcile these two things. And so what I do is I help people kind of get those two things into alignment and kind of take away the mystery, take away the inaccessibility, and make it something that, your voice is yours and it's a gift that you give to the world. There's a reason why sound travels away from you is you're giving it to others. So I help people.
So it really intrigues me then how this all connects in with coaching CEOs or women in business or even, like we said when we were having a chat beforehand, like even men in business or whatever, how that connection from being a professional singer to coaching CEOs of companies? How does that all work?
Well, Warren, it's all a performance. And I've got a big love, Shakespeare says all the world's a stage, and it's true. I have a big love, though, for introverts. I didn't really understand that side of my personality until probably 6 or 7 years ago, when I realized that I needed a lot of time to process things internally. And I'm very lucky. I grew up in a very extroverted environment, a very extroverted industry. So I had to learn these skills as a way of functioning in the world, because in contemporary culture right now, we reward, certainly in Western culture, extroversion. It's a perception that if you're extroverted or you behave in an extroverted way, you're knowledgeable. But what's happened is there's kind of about 50% of the population that isn't put together that way. They need time to process inward. They need time to take the information and kind of have this kind of internal function before they can speak up. And often by the time they're ready to go, the board meeting has moved on, or the audience has left, or the phone call is finished. And so what we do is we use performance skills that I learned as a singer, as an actor, and working with singers and actors to help people that kind of have that very big internal world, take it internally and put it out there in a way where they feel competent and they feel confident.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing that probably a lot of if you look at Australian music, a lot of the most famous Australian musicians or singers, like in bands and that, are probably very introverted people. Like they're not extroverts at all. It's all just a show, basically. Off the stage, they're introverted people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the first things that helped me start to understand that about myself was when I started working as a solo performer for the music that I was actually writing. And understanding that I got this overwhelming exhaustion before and after going on stage. And what would happen was all these people would come to the concerts and they'd want to see me and want to speak with me. And on a fundamental level, I wanted to engage with them. But this really profound exhaustion would come on me. And what I now understand, as I study the science of it more and understand psychology better, that was my body's way of saying, okay, performance anxiety is not an option for you right now, but you're going to have to process all the chemicals that are going off in your brain somehow. And so that tiredness or that fatigue, I still get it after a big performance now as a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
About an hour where I just really could take a big nap. And it's one of those things where the focus that is required for me to deliver a performance where I feel I'm really mindful and I'm really present takes an incredible amount of cognitive energy. And it's one of those things where it's not that I don't feel the anxiety anymore. It's not that I don't feel fear anymore. It's that the joy that I derive from sharing the discoveries I've made about voice and helping people find freedom in that is so much more than any fear or anxiety that I feel. And that's one of the big things that I work on clients with, is helping them understand you can need to go to the toilet and still take a phone call. You can hit your toe and still keep walking. And performance anxiety and fear are the same. They're discomforts, but you don't need to let them drive the bus. You don't need to let them define what you do. They can just be something in the journey rather than the end point.
So I suppose that's a good one, is how do you coach someone to overcome their fear?
Well, there's one type of psychology treatment called exposure therapy, which is, I think, really great. And that's where you very gradually turn up the exposure that a person experiences to the thing that they're scared of. So if you're scared of spiders, first we draw a spider, then we see a spider in a box, and then maybe eventually we find a non-venomous one for you to play with. Doesn't mean you're not scared of it anymore, but it means that the exposure that you have has built up a body of proof that helps you understand that this isn't life-threatening, and you'll be okay. And so with clients, I've had them kind of practice. First we write the speech here, and then we practice it in the studio, and then they start speaking up a little bit in a board meeting, and then eventually they end up chairing the board meeting. And then maybe if that's not enough, we take up stand-up comedy. It's we start upping the ante so that they understand that while they may feel that discomfort, the byproduct of facing that and overcoming it, or the benefits of overcoming it, are so much greater than giving into the fear.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just, just keep stepping that little bit further outside your comfort zone until it catches up to you and keep stepping again.
Yeah, and that's why having a coach is so important. I jokingly say to my clients that I'm here to either hold your hand or kick your butt, depending on what you need to do. And think of a vocal coach as the same as a life coach or a football coach. I understand the instrument that you're playing better than you do. So I actually can see the big picture. I can see what you're capable of long before your body of proof has built to a stage where you believe it.
Yeah. And I suppose that's what a coach is all about, because they've been there and walked that line previously. So they just they know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a level of understanding that I bring that, because I've done it, and because the coaches that work with me here at Find Your Voice have done it, we have the credibility to help people understand that we really aren't telling you it's going to be okay, and we haven't done it ourselves. We've walked the walk, we've lived it, we've been through that fear. And so that when we speak about this, we actually have the authority to say it.
Yeah, and that's you've got the credibility behind you. Yeah. So another question is, so do you still currently, are you still a singer, or you've given that whole career away, or do you still get up on stage?
I sing every day. I just am not singing on stage right now. Honestly, I work probably 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. most weekdays right now, and the energy that I used to bring to my performances on stage, I now bring as a keynote speaker and as a coach to my people. And we will do power poses and sing through all the best of the 80s ballads. I've already done probably about 20 songs this morning, and it's just past midday.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where singing really is an incredible tool for helping people tap into feeling free with their voice. Yes, we've coached some people that will be potentially the next Celine Dion, and that would be great. But that singing is something that belongs to everyone, and that's why it's such a powerful tool. You won't go to African villages or Inuit villages where you have someone sitting in the corner and that guy just claps the sticks. Collectively, as a community, everyone is using their voice. And what's happened in Western culture is it's become more and more segregated as a facility that we have available to us. And I essentially want to help people understand that using their voice is a wonderful thing. And a lot of the time, the people that have been told, be quiet, shut up, your voice doesn't sound good, are the ones that actually need more support and more training. It's just a skill like anything else.
Yep. So on The Wire, we're all about resilience and persistence and determination. When you were told as a 7-year-old that you weren't a singer,
I was actually 16, so it invested
16.
Years by that stage in believing. At 7, I kept hoping that someone would hear me sing and take me away to become a Disney princess, and that didn't happen. That wasn't my journey.
So what made you keep pushing on and not just listen to those people? What was it? Your dream was so strong, or did you just
Look, there is no one who is more of an expert on you than you are.
Yeah.
And people have opinions. Everybody has opinions, and they feel so free to share it with you. And so often those who share their opinions are not necessarily mindful of the impact that will have on a person. And occasionally someone will say something to you and it'll lock in, and that will become a hook, and you will repeat that to yourself over and over, and it will become part of your internal narrative. But if you know right at the heart of you that something is important to you, no one else is going to know that better than you do. And I'm really blessed with an incredibly stubborn personality, Warren. And I think one of the reasons that I left being a professional singer was I got to the concerts I was doing at Royal Albert Hall. I was selling out venues as a singer-songwriter. I was featured on films and advertising, and I kind of took a look at myself and thought, I'm 30 and I've proved my point, and this isn't fun anymore. What's next?
Yeah.
And vocal coaching was something that kind of I was introduced to around that time. And I was very lucky to have a great coach in New York who said to me, have you considered becoming a vocal coach as opposed to being a singer? And that was it for me. It was like everything came together. And I think that's the thing is there are two paths that people take. They either take, you have a vision and you go straight for that vision and it's a direct path. And if it doesn't work, people give up.
Yep.
Or you can take this long kind of winding indirect route, but sometimes people lose track of where they're going. And I think it's important to have the best of both of those. Have a really clear vision, but be open to taking that winding road that eventually when you get to sing at Royal Albert Hall, it might not be the way you thought you'd get there, but you get there in the end.
But you got, yeah, and I can relate to that a little bit. My son's a musician and the music that he's playing at the moment wouldn't be the music that we would have thought when he was a 16-year-old what he'd be playing now. But it's
it's really important to be open to the process. Give yourself that space, give yourself that grace to being open to the process, and let yourself make mistakes. As kids, we don't berate ourselves for getting our alphabet out of order. Yet as adults, if we don't get it right the first time, we give ourselves such a hard time.
No. Got a couple of questions to close off with. And the one is that I've asked everyone that's been on so far is resilience. And what's Emmanuella's definition of resilience?
Well, I think resilience has been a kind of really great catchword that's been coming up a lot in psychology. But I think what we now understand is the next step. Resilience is sticking with it and just surviving and getting through it. But even as important is acceptance, which is what we now understand is the step that comes after that, which is the bit that will really set you free. Resilience is the survival of a situation and the sticking it out, but acceptance is the bit that will give you the freedom to use it as a superpower afterwards.
Yep. That's very good. The last one is, I'm just trying to think of a good question to ask you, but I suppose what advice would Emmanuella now give a younger Emmanuella, say that 16-year-old Emmanuella now?
Oh, you're going to discover therapy and it'll be the best thing ever. And I'd want her to know just how big an impact you're going to do something and it's going to affect a lot of people's lives, and just keep going. You're on the right track. Just keep going. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Keep going. You can do this.
Trust yourself. Trust yourself's probably
yeah.
a good one.
Just keep going. You can do it.
Oh, I really appreciate you joining me today, Emmanuella. It's been really great to speak with you and actually see us face to face for the first time, which is good.
Oh, Warren, it's been so lovely to spend this time with you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your time, and thanks once again for joining me, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been my pleasure. I'll speak with you later.
Righto. Thanks, Emmanuella. Cheers. Bye.